Hello people of the interweb. Today I'm going to be talking about the image stabilization systems with the Panasonic GH5. So when the Panasonic GH5 was announced, one of the specs that people paid attention to was the in-camera 5-axis image stabilization. I wanted to test this, so I'm going to run a few tests now where we see how it works in different environments, but I'm also going to test the camera with and without stabilization with various things. So first of all, what I'm going to do is actually test the camera with no image stabilization. So to do that, I'm going to use a Zuiko digital 12mm lens from Olympus, and I'm going to use that on the camera, and we're not going to use any image stabilization in the body. This lens doesn't have it, so we'll check it with that first, and I'm going to walk upstairs, I'm going to walk outside and just see what kind of shake we get from the camera. Then I'm going to use the same lens but turn on the in-camera stabilization to see how much difference that makes to actually walking with the camera. Then I'm going to use the Panasonic 14 to 140mm lens. Now I'm going to use it on 14mm as wide as I can go to try and match this lens, but I'm also going to turn on and off the image stabilization. This has got the O.I.S stabilization system, so I'll try the camera with the stabilization on with the actual in-camera stabilization. So again, I'm going to walk with both of those on, so hopefully it should be even better than just having the in-camera stabilization itself. And I'm also going to test both this lens, the 12mm lens, with the Ronin M, and also finally I'm going to finish off with the Ronin M with the camera, the GH5, with in-house stabilization using the sensor, and also the O.I.S stabilization on the lens. So that should obviously give us the best results. So we'll start off with the 12mm Zuiko lens with no stabilization, and then we'll take it from there and see how we get on. Okay, so this is the GH5 with no image stabilization. We've got the 12mm Zuiko lens on with no stabilization. In-camera stabilization is also turned off. So now we've got the same settings, same lens, but now with the in-camera stabilization set to on. Now we're filming with the same setup, the GH5 with in-camera stabilization, the 12mm lens with no stabilization, and the Ronin M. Okay, so now we've got the GH5 with the 14 to 140 lens set at 140, power O.I.S on the lens, and in-camera stabilisation on the lens. And finally, we've got all three image stabilization systems. We've got the power O.I.S on the 14 to 140 lens at 14mm. We've got the in-camera stabilization on the GH5, and we've got the Ronin M. So let's see how that does. Okay, so I hope that gave you some insight into how the different stabilization systems work on the GH5. Obviously, when you've got a non-O.I.S lens, you're going to have to rely on the stabilization from the actual sensor. But when you couple the image stabilization in the camera, the 5-axis stabilization on the sensor, with an O.I.S stabilization on the lens, you get some incredible results. Now, I read somewhere, I think it was on Panasonic's actual site, that says it eliminates the need for a tripod, and I think that's quite important. Trying to walk with a camera when you've got image stabilization and the lens, you're still going to get slight movement unless you perfect the crazy walk that you do when you're trying to get stabilized footage. But I think it's still good enough using the in-camera stabilization and the O.I.S to actually get some really good walking shots. So, you know, you can perhaps leave a Ronin or another stabilization system at home and rely on your funky walking to get the stabilization looking good. So I think both of those work well together. But when you use them in a situation where you're maybe taking stills at night, you can bring the shutter speed right down and the ISO down to kill the grain, and you should be able to hold the camera incredibly still to get really good low light images, and they're stills. And when you're shooting video, again, you should be able to get some really good, nice, slow panning shots. I've used this with the 14 to 140 set at 140, out at sea, getting some really good panning shots of people. So obviously when you're standing still with both systems, with the O.I.S and with the 5-axis stabilization system, you'll get some great slow moving panning shots. And if you're standing still, it looks as though you're on a tripod. It's that static. It looks fantastic. And again, you could do some maybe sliding shots. So I think with the setup, with the 5-axis stabilization and with the O.I.S lenses, it's fantastic, and you pretty much can leave the tripod at home. I'm going to be testing it in some low light to do some low light stills and some low light video handheld, but they'll come later on. But for now, I hope that's helped you kind of see how the stabilization system works on the Panasonic GH5. Obviously, if you couple the O.I.S from a lens with the 5-axis image stabilization built into the GH5 with a Ronin M, you get some incredible footage. As you could see when I was walking up and down the stairs, almost like I was on a Stana stair lift. It's that good. So if you've got all three, perfect. But the Ronin M, you don't always want to take it with you. So if you can rely on the O.I.S from the lenses and with the 5-axis stabilization, I think you're going to have a lot of fun and a lot less to carry as well.